Well, I'm Richard Campbell, I'm a Dungutty Gumbanga man but I was born in a little town called Barraville, just, probably an hour away from here on the highway, a nice little place in my mother's country, Gumbanga, and that's where I was taken and put in the system. I put in the bloody child welfare board. That was a shocking part, of our lives, I still remember bits of it. My three younger sisters don't remember, They remember being, picked up and put in the car, big black car, and, every time they want to know something, they ring me up. I said, "Oh, what happened here?" And I took them back. I said, this is where we were taken from here, and this is the courthouse they put us in, and they freak out. I said, we didn't know we went to a courthouse. And then we were separated at Kinchela. Then when we had the 90th, I said, look, we'll take a photo right here. They said, why here, Richard? I said, well, this is where we was parted, down at Kinchela. I said, yous went that way, and we just stayed here, and after that we didn't know where he went to. I hated Kinchela until the boys got together. Hated what Kinchela was about, and why it was there for, for what they did to us down there. At the boys, though.
I'm James Michael Whitty Welsh, or number 36. I am a survivor of the place that they call Kinchela Boys Home. The word home always gets stuck in my throat because it was never a home. It's an evil place. It was a very bad place. When we went through that gate, we were stripped of everything, right? Everything, clothes, shaved the hair off, all of it, language, no, couldn't talk it. And we were given numbers. They said, to me and my brother, when we went in there, they said, all right, then they said, Barry, you are no longer to use this name, you are now number 17. And then they said, Michael, you are no longer to use your name, you are now 36. So that was what we were. And we were told that if we were caught using our names, we would get punished.
And it was supposed to be a training farm, a training farm, training for what? Training for the pedophiles to get better and better, how to hide their bloody feelings, for young boys. That's all it was.
Even now, right now, I'm not thinking about myself when these tears and these pains hurt me. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and also I'm thinking about the evil system that they've got that's running across this land. I'm talking about the colonised system that they got and the lies that have been told about our people. So, end of life is something that at one time I was 19. I was going to end it because my own child got taken away from me and the woman that I married. So now I want to be able to at least feel that my family's going to be safe and my children's going to be safe before I go.
That's not our culture. It was never our culture. We died. We died. And the old people did their business about burying us. It was never our culture. But it's the white man's culture that we gotta sort of abide by now these days. Because they even own the bloody cemeteries. You know.
When we come into it, anything to do with Kinchela, it has to be survivor led, or Kinchela boys and brothers that are led, because there's some of them the age is changing from where they're learning. We got uncles who are in their 80 years of age yet who still can't quite talk about that place and the pain that went through it, right?
Well, my advice, to the old uncles, think about all the rows that they're going to do when you're dead. Try and prevent some of it. Because it's going to be their kids that's going to be offended by it. And whether your wife or bloody, or your partner's going to be there, she'll be, the family's going to row. someone's going to be targeted. It happens all the time. Someone's going to be targeted about it.
I want to be able to leave a legacy behind for my children. I want these people to give me the resources to rebuild my family structure. I want these people, underneath their government policies and the policies that they made, to take me back where those policies took me away from.
The main priority is fighting to get Kinchela back.
Hey you mob, I'm Dr. Joel Wennerton. I'm from the Gubby Gubby Kapandingi mob of Southeast Queensland. I'm working as a GP and I've been working with the Kinchela Boys Home elders on developing their advanced care plans. The advanced care plans were initially developed in the US in order to people to have some sort of control of end of lives and end of life and what they want and making sure their wishes are met. For Koori mob in New South Wales, it doesn't quite make sense in that it's things to do with death. There are special ceremonies, sorry business, and things that already go on in order to help cope with death. In my experience, I've worked out that talking to elders and saying that, look, you haven't had control of your life, and this is something where you can have control of end of life and what you want to happen or not happen when it gets to the point where you can't make decisions for yourself. As clinicians, we often look at it from our perspective more than their perspective and what we can't do or what they don't want us to do. They don't want us to jump on their chest and perform CPR. Do they want us to give them IV antibiotics? Do they want us to do this and that, all these clinical things? But to them, that's not the main concern for them. It's making sure that they do have some sort of control. This video is showing a snippet of these stories that these, two of these elders from Kinchela Boys Home have had, and that lack of control that they've had. And so having some sort of way that they can actually put across what they want and their views and their feelings when it comes to their end of life, I think is really important. The second part is that they see it as a way to help family cope in those end of days, so that there's limited fighting, and that's appropriate for all people. When there's emotions and certain family members want certain things done and there's arguments and it can get a bit of a mess. The other point is that, and this is not so much clinician, this is more of their perspective on what they want. And all the brothers, they want their sight back. They want that sight that they had the most horrible things happen to them, and they want to change that and use it as a healing site. There are things in place that are stopping that from happening. And yeah, we can't say, yes, we're going to give you back that site, and we know that as clinicians, but we can support them in at least, number one, acknowledging that, yes, that is a great idea, and that's something that we should all get behind and support. And number two, we can write letters, we can do all sorts of supporting things to actually support them in that. I've written letters to the Department of Housing and all sorts of different things as a GP, saying that, this needs to be done to the house because their health is having an impact, and it works, and why shouldn't it work? If you have 200,000 doctors writing letters to the powers that be saying you give Kinchela Boys Home back to the brothers, it's pretty hard for them to deny that. And so that's something, just one thing you can do that even at a face value level has a difference, but in the longer term, it has definitely the potential to make a difference as well. The other point that they put across is putting things in place so that they feel that their family are taken care of and their family are supported, so that when they go, that all that intergenerational trauma can be addressed. And as clinicians, this is what we do. As GPs, this is what we do. We work with the families and identifying family members that might struggle with this or are struggling with whatever in life, and identifying that and working with them well after these elders have passed is something that we can actually do.